the environment, politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health, entertainment, updates in education, on the farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza Muganda kitwa kugumaza, to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC Radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. Welcome to Ground Zero, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero.
And this is UBC Radio, and we're here to inspire you, the people of Uganda. I want to welcome you to our radio stations that cover this program live. We are on 5 radio stations on UBC Radio in Kampala. That is on 98.0 FM. That is if you are in Kampala. And we are also live and clear on all the other frequencies and or the radio stations. In case you are in Arua, we are 97.4 FM. In case you are in Lida, we are 99.4 FM. We are live and clear on Butebo radio that covers all parts of eastern Uganda. That is on 96.9 FM in Mbale, Nasoroti 98.4, and we're also live and clear on Western Nile radio, that is in the heart of Arua City, on 98.0 FM. We're also live and clear on another radio station, that is Magic 100 FM, that covers all central parts of this country, and also live and clear on Voice of Bundubujo, covering southern and western parts of Uganda. We're also streaming live. You just put UBC Ground Zero and you'll be part of the conversation that is on YouTube and all the other UBC platforms. We are live and clear. It is very important that you always share your feedback. It helps us. You can also put all the concerns that you would love all our guests in the studios to always address them. Ampaire Amon Buteega is my name, and I'm very much excited that I have a very strong team in the studios of UBC who are going to be leading us in informing, educating, and inspiring us this morning. And our topic today, we're looking at setting the pace. No sleep, no corruption. You all remember that at the beginning of this year, we had the new government swearing in, led by General His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. That was on 12th May 2026, and for those who were at Kororo ceremonial grounds, you must have been excited and also witnessed this. And today we're going to be examining what that slogan means in practice, whether it can deliver the real change, and how oversight, institutions, and political the politics of this country can be raised, and also we look at how it will shape the outcomes over the next term. We're talking about the NRM or seventh term in office. We look at that, and we're going to take that very direction, but maybe we can remind you of what this was about.
Dr. Museveni swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me God. I, Yoweri Tubaburo Kaguta Museveni, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I shall faithfully exercise the functions of the President of Uganda and shall uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and observe the laws of Uganda, and that I shall promote the welfare of the people of Uganda. So help me God.
From there we start our conversation and we look at that new term that started on that very day, 12th May 2026, where President-elect His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was given a chance by the majority Ugandans to lead them for the next 5 years. And we also promised the people of Uganda that this term is not going to be a serious one, no sleep, and also we're looking at no corruption or zero corruption. And of course, considering what is taking place in our country, people can realize that maybe it has started on a serious note already. But also we look at some of the statements that he also talked about. Before that, we can listen to the panel that we have in our studios this morning until this afternoon. I have a big privilege and honor to have someone who has been at the forefront when it comes to fighting corruption in this country, and it is always a privilege that we always have you, Dr. Patricia Okiria-Achan, joining us this morning. You're most welcome, Madam.
Thank you very much, Amon, and good morning, listeners out there. I'm very happy to be part of this conversation this morning as we unpack no sleep, no corruption. Thank you.
Interesting. You're most welcome, Madam. And also we have the Comrade Rogarama Daniel, Doctor, Chairman Pan-African Movement Uganda, and also is the Global Geostrategic Consultant, a lawyer and educator, and we're going to be learning a lot from this educator this very morning. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Comrade Amon, and our esteemed viewers and listeners. I hope they view us, I don't know. And salutations to my dear sister, the Deputy IGG, Dr. Patricia.
Thank you very much.
I'm really looking forward to this no sleep, no corruption next 5 years.
True, we're actually not sleeping already.
Interesting. All right. That brings us to the beginning of our discussion today, and we are also inviting our dear listeners on what you think about this term, no sleep, no corruption. What does that translate to you? And considering what is taking place in our country, what do you look forward to achieving in this new term? But let's be reminded of some of these important statements by His Excellency the President.
The fight against corruption is not as difficult as people think. You will see in the coming days how we are going to cause a lot of casualties. Some few months ago, I hear that the Minister of Finance created a group to audit the employees, find out whether there are ghost employees. And within a short time, they have found a big number. Auditor General, I think the finance told Auditor General. Now, Auditor General, instead of giving the report to finance, went to Parliament. Now, this is not a political matter. So I'm going to write to the CID to go for these people. Because this is not political. Committee of Parliament. Well, Committee of Parliament is not CID. This is trying to divert now. So now you would see these people who they are not clever. The money is coming from a known source. I have sent you money to pay 20 people. Each one is being paid so much. You go and you pay 25.
The seventh term of no sleep, no corruption, and also from those statements from the head of state saying that this term they are going to be serious and they are going to cause more casualties. Let me hear from the IGG, and I understand that you have been at the forefront when it comes to fighting corruption. You have a lot on your table in terms of files and cases that you are handling, but it is very important that the people of Uganda who are part of us from the other side of radio know the position of government. And how have you started this term? Dr. Patricia.
Thank you very much, Amon. Corruption has been a big problem, and we can best describe it as a cancer in our country. Like you had the president expressing himself on the same. Our country is richly endowed with fertile land, fertile soils, favorable climate, natural resources, but most importantly, we also have resilient and hardworking people. But you realize that each year that passes, Parliament approves substantive resources towards key sectors like health, education, infrastructure, and agriculture. Yet despite of these investments, service delivery gaps still persist in our country. And the central question we should be asking ourselves, therefore, is not whether we have the resources or policies, but whether we have the right leadership that is required to translate them into meaningful outcomes. Amon, in NRM manifesto of 2031, corruption was still labeled as one of the major challenges to our democracy and overall service delivery. And while we have made progress in fighting corruption, it still remains a significant challenge that we are determined to defeat. So it's one of those significant obstacles to our development, and it diverts resources, it weakens institutions, it undermines service delivery, it even erodes public trust. That's why citizens are in a bad mood lately. They are lamenting. They are not happy about what is going on. And simply put, every act of corruption has a direct cost to the people of Uganda. So the people are right to be angry and agitated about what is happening. Our development agenda emphasizes good governance, rule of law, political stability, regulatory quality, and even the control, prevention of corruption. And the IG attributes directly to strengthening integrity, accountability, and citizens' participation in governance. So when you look at our mandate as the IG, our mandate is clear. We are supposed to be promoting strict adherence to the rule of law and principles of natural justice in administration. We are supposed to eliminate corruption and abuse of authority or misuse in public office. We are promoting fair and efficient good governance and supervising enforcement of the leadership code. Now, in doing our work, we are also mainstreaming TAC. This is transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption. In doing our work, we have a number of challenges, not very far from what you heard the president talking about. We did a comprehensive study on service commissions, district service commissions, the sale of jobs. We have now begun interrogating even people with forged academic papers. Imagine somebody holding out to be a nurse, yet he doesn't have the qualifications, and is there masquerading and treating people. What kind of treatment? We see the lives of the people in danger. So as the IG, we have already woken up. We have been doing our work. We will continue to fight corruption. You realize our prosecution cases are actually increasing. We are looking at public office being held in trust of the people, as provided for in the national objectives and directive principles of state policy, that all public offices shall be held in trust of the people. And therefore, we are looking at the responsibility of leaders, because leaders must be answerable to the people. And recently, we completed the declaration period where all public officers were meant to declare their incomes, assets, and liabilities to the Inspectorate of Government. So we are also looking at lawful measures being taken to expose, combat, and eradicate corruption and abuse of office. And that is why we continue to investigate, we continue to prosecute, we continue to do those systemic studies, we continue to take the face of the IG to the people, because our mission is basically to promote good governance through prevention of corruption, through enforcement of the law, and citizen engagement. And the Constitution gives us our jurisdiction, by the way. The jurisdiction of the Inspectorate of Government shall cover all officers and leaders, whether employed in public service or not, and also such institutions, organizations, or enterprises as Parliament may prescribe by law. So the law also gives us special powers within the Constitution, and Section 14 of the Inspectorate of Government Act. We are empowered to do certain things within the law. For instance, we investigate, arrest, and prosecute corruption-related offenses, like you may have seen or heard when we take action. We also issue binding orders and directives, and we enter and inspect government premises and examine documents and enforce the leadership code. Because the cost of corruption is so painfully high in this country. We did a study with the help of GIZ in 2021, and it revealed to us that we lose approximately 9.3 trillion annually to corruption. And how does this loss occur? It occurs through bribery, inflated payrolls, tax evasion, theft of drugs, and maladministration. And when you look at the 4th National Integrity Survey, it found that in education alone, teacher absenteeism costs our country 1.5 trillion. These are the people we are paying who are not actually going to class to teach, but they're always absent. And this cost is borne most heavily by the children from poor and rural families. When you go to health, you find that access to vital services is often dependent on ability to pay bribes, which denies many Ugandans their right to health. And Amon, like you say, do not sleep, no corruption. We have now spread out. The regional offices are doing spot checks to ensure that there is attendance to duty, to ensure that there is access to vital services. In recruitment, district service commissions are plagued by forgery, bribery, nepotism, and political interference, which is basically undermining the quality of public servants and leading to huge losses. Now we are looking at a whole government approach, coming up with solutions on how the district service commission members are appointed, on how the public service commission is operating. We need to clean up that area so that we can have quality service. Because if people are saying there is forgery, bribery, nepotism, people are buying jobs, these are serious issues which we as the Inspectorate of Government, being the lead anti-corruption agency, we are already interrogating. So when we ask ourselves, why does this corruption persist? Why are we talking about no sleep, no corruption today? Because we have got laws, we have got institutions. But corruption continues. We see issues like lack of transparency as one of the primary facilitators of corruption. Because when criteria, when procedures and decisions are opaque, it becomes easier for the public officers to manipulate and the outcomes for personal gain. Then lack of proper supervision of public officers. in many of these government departments has worsened the corruption situation in the country. And this has led to many cases of absenteeism, for example, in the schools, the example I gave, the hospitals, where citizens are being denied quality service delivery just because someone is not being a good supervisor, just because the supervisor is not doing his job very, very well. Some people are simply greedy and selfish. And this is how we begin to see primitive accumulation of wealth, even though they do not actually need it. They will embezzle public funds at the expense of the populace. Then we have the issue of bureaucracy. Lengthy government bureaucracies. People are not paying attention to detail, but they're looking at the bureaucracies. You have to move from this person to the other person to the next person. These lengthy bureaucracies in getting certifications, even in licenses to carry out different commercial activities and businesses, has made people resort to giving bribes. Because of the lengthy processes, they're now giving bribes as a way of speeding up processes. For example, the process of acquiring a land title or mining certificates and so on. And then another serious driver why corruption is persisting, the society has also generally accepted and tolerated some corrupt tendencies. For example, we as a citizenry have normalized the issue of kitu kidogo, something small, for a government service. You are calling it kasimo. You're calling it a token of appreciation. You're bribing police officers to avoid traffic offenses out there. Therefore, good laws and institutions alone cannot win the fight against corruption. But we need ethical leadership. We need integrity. Ethical leadership with integrity, which must take the lead. Then in terms of public accountability, we hold public office and manage public resources in trust for the people. So we are the servants of the people and we are answerable to them. And that means that public accountability requires requires us to account for the decisions we make, for the authority we exercise, and the manner in which we utilize public resources. Amon, if I'm entrusted with power like now I am, I hold a certain authority with that. The manner within which I use that power, I remain accountable to the people of Uganda. And that is why when you summon me to come to UBC Ground Zero, I come running. Because the people must get to know what is happening on the ground. We must remain accountable to oversight institutions established as part of the checks and balances within our governance framework. So it is very important that we really maintain this accountability, transparency, and anti-corruption in the way we do our work. So I think it is very important that citizens own this war against corruption. We retaliate what the president has said in this whole thing of no sleep, no corruption, because throughout the campaign period, His Excellency the President consistently made emphasis on the fight against corruption, and he reaffirmed his commitment to ensuring that his long-standing national challenge is decisively confronted in the new term of office. And at the Inspectorate of Government, we have also taken a deliberate strategic action and result-oriented measures to translate this commitment into tangible action and meaningful outcomes for the people of Uganda. So we are further given more hope by seeing the promises made in the current manifesto in the fight against corruption. And our humble plea is that these promises are followed up and fulfilled. I will quote verbatim from the manifesto on page 154 to 155, where His Excellency said the NRM has been supporting the fight against corruption through the Inspectorate of Government to oversee public officers' accountability. And Amon, that is exactly what we were doing, even when we were handling the declarations of incomes, assets, and liabilities. The NRM made a promise that the NRM will strengthen the corruption investigative institutions, that is the IGG, the OAG, the DPP, the CID, and Parliament Accountability Committees and others. And the NRM will sensitize the masses to report corruption cases in accordance with the Whistleblower Protection Act. So for us as the Inspectorate of Government, we have continued to undertake this strategic shift in our operational model to enhance effectiveness, deterrence, and institutional impact. And while the normal activities of investigations of complaints are continuing, we will focus on transitioning from the reactive complaint-driven investigations to the intelligence-led and risk-based investigations, which is anchored on a prosecution-led model to reduce the case turnaround time and improve conviction rates in the IG.
Right.
We are now even using the prosecution-led investigation approach, where our prosecutors are working hand in hand with investigators and giving them leads on what we need to have successful prosecutions. We have also moved from case-by-case resolution of the ombudsman complaints to systemic interventions. These systemic interventions help us to address root causes of maladministration. We have done verifications of leaders' declarations, which will be also strengthened through the adoption of the AI and analytics, while performance management will shift from the output-based reporting to outcome-oriented results. So as the IG, we will promote a whole government approach through mainstreaming transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption measures across MDAs and local governments. And also we want to accelerate the digital transformation by replacing the manual processes with integrated automated systems. And this, for us, we would like to basically thank the PSST, who has also helped us to roll out TAC across the MDAs, the local government, ministries, departments, and agencies as a cross-cutting issue in the second budget call circular. So for us these days, the TAC component is compulsory. It has been rolled out to ministries, departments, and agencies, and even PSST, before he releases any monies, he asks whether you're TAC compliant. Do you have transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption measures across your work plans and budgets? What is it that you're doing as a ministry to ensure that you're TAC compliant? So for me, I think that will work. And I know that this no pace, no corruption approach is beginning to touch, and I know Ugandans are feeling it. There's a lot of anxiety out there, but just know that the institutions are awake and alert and working and not sleeping.
All right. Thank you, Madam IGG. Comrade Lugarama, pick it from there. And we are glad that we also have been joined by our own Ojabili Augustine from FDC, who will come in later after Comrade Lugarama.
Thank you so much once again, Comrade Buteega, Amon. And I again wish to thank Dr. Rachel for this. This is what to Patricia rather. Yeah, but my apologies. For setting the pace in the world of academics. This is what we would call serious paper presentation. So in other words, Amon, you are inviting me really to discuss this very serious presentation. Once again, Dr. Patricia, thank you. If you will permit me, Amon, and let me say this, that Africa, which has got the freshest of the waters world over, with close to 70% of her soils arable, the arable land that we are able to cultivate whatever we want to cultivate. And it will come out superb without even having to use fertilizers. And that we are arguably, as far as the production of organic foods is concerned, the best continent. We certainly have got no reason as to why we should be, again, a continent that is described as the most wanting. And therefore, Uganda may not be, it is not easy to build an enclave economy and claim that we can satisfy all our needs, we can do what we want to do ourselves. Even an economy like China, which probably may come close to constructing an enclave economy, has not successfully done that. And therefore, in our fight and against corruption, in our renewed endeavor to not to sleep, literally speaking, I think when you look at it philosophically, the president was not talking about not sleeping, because in the 10 now, which was expanded 15-point program, sleeping or being able to sleep was one of the cornerstones upon which NRM came to power, that we can provide people with the ability to sleep. And therefore, to me, really, what caught my attention, although I listened to that speech, the swearing-in speech of the president, now when you replayed it today, I picked something where he said fighting corruption is not such a hard thing, and it's done. I'm glad that I at least have a lot of confidence in the team at the IGGs. These ladies, not just because Dr. Patricia is seated next to me, but I really have a lot of confidence in what they are doing. And they are not alone. There are other agencies. I think Uganda, interestingly, we are one country that boasts of a number of agencies fighting corruption, maybe also illustrating the fact that probably corruption is such a huge cancer that they need a multi-forked approach, not just one dimension in attacking corruption. And listening to my sister, when she mentioned that annually, was it GZ? The figures, the computation was going to about 10. Okay, you call it. You approximate to the nearest. 10 trillion. 10 trillion is about how many. Our parliament annually receives 3 trillion shillings. 3 trillion shillings. So if we lose 10 trillion annually, you would have to say that we lose parliamentary allocation 4 times, if you like, 3.5 times of parliamentary allocation. That is 3.5 years of what we allocate to parliament. We lose it through corruption. I was having a conversation with one of my OBs at Makerere who works in finance, and he was joking. He said, but Comrade Rugarama, you see, this business of you talking about what we lose in corruption, we also budget for that. What we are going to lose, we budget for it. So that when it goes, it is already budgeted for. Well, that seemed to be a joke, but there is something which I read into it, that indeed the monies that we lose through these allocations is probably something that maybe the people who are at the budgeting desk also program. So you can see that corruption, although it is which is blue collar kind of, although the president talked about us having the ability to fight it, for such a long time, it has been one of the dilemma that has been dogging Uganda, and not just Uganda, but Africa. I was not long ago rereading, if you permit me say that, the paper that was presented by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni around 2010, I think. It was in Durban, and it is titled Africa's bottlenecks to Africa's development. And he points out there are about 11, he said 11 bottlenecks to Africa's development. And he points out to issues to do with the ideological bankruptcy, the limited trade, limited infrastructure, this roads, transport, and what have you. Talks about, of course, but what again captured my attention in there, and I think it is part of the battle that the IGGs and all the anti-corruption groups are battling, because I had Dr. Patricia mention things to do with the teachers' absenteeism. Amon, I warned you that I'm going to discuss Dr. Patricia's paper. Now you brought doctors here. What do you expect? So so therefore, here situation where you look at one of the issues that the president in the paper brought out was the strategic public service. He says that you can imagine that the civil service or public service, if you like, on the African continent is part of the problem that we are not developing simply because we have got a public service which in itself, yes, colonial inherited, and now we move on the structures of that were left by colonialism. But what is more is that we have fashioned, the public service is fashioned on the tenets of to perpetuate continued corruption. That it is not progress and deliver this continent, and Uganda, of course, being part of the continent, to the next level, whereby we are spot on in terms of increased trade, in terms of science and innovation, in terms of improved welfare, but it's selfishness. Let me just conclude on this, Comrade Amon, by simply observing, therefore, that the renewed mandate that the Ugandans, the social contract that the Ugandans gave the NRM leadership is to the effect that, yes, and this time with 72%, is the effect that, look, we have been with you for the last 40 years. Among the things that you have provided, peace and security, the stability in other sectors, increased employment opportunities, all right, but we still have a challenge, and I think this is what the president pointed out and said it is part of the no sleep, no corruption agenda. We therefore wait to see, even when we have got some test of that no corruption. I don't want to discuss anything now deeply into what we are seeing unfold before our eyes, but I want to believe that in Uganda the problem has always been we commence on something which the public expects to mature into good stuff, but the end always has been the problem. I hope this time around, Comrade Amon and our esteemed listeners, the battle have started on corruption is going to yield good fruits. I thank you.
Interesting. Thank you so very much. Jabili, also your introduction and introducing Marx based on our topic, no sleep, no corruption, the seventh term of the NRM and President Yoweri Museveni. What does that translate to you?
Thank you, Amon. Our dear listeners, is it Anne Grace?
Patricia.
Patricia.
Patricia Chano Kiri.
Yes. Patricia, the Deputy IGG, our dear listeners, panelists, and administration of this great organization, UBC. My name is Augustine Ojobile, and I am the Secretary FDC Electoral Commission. This is a very big topic. It's a very big topic, and there's a way we really need to help our people to understand that stealing a coin from the government coffers or from an individual leads to so many evils. Maybe to break it down, we have 3 stages. We usually look at this. There's petty corruption, administrative corruption, and grand corruption. And one leads to the other. So I expect us to help our people understand. See, under petty corruption is where you meet this day. Actually, it's on that for you are paying a nurse some 5K to act faster on you. Then you are on the road, you pay maybe a police officer some little kitu kidogo to make sure that he releases you and you go scot-free even after maybe going against the traffic laws. But the problem is that the poor, this hits hardest on the poor people. For them, they can't afford that. So it means tomorrow, even an innocent person will be held on the road, and it is alleged you are going against the traffic laws. This person cannot give the kitu kidogo, and now it means the motorbike, which is maybe even on loan, is going to police, and it will remain there. Because if you can't give 5,000 or 10,000 to a police officer who wants that little money, will you afford the 50, the 100, or the 300 needed after maybe court has taken some serious directions? So this alone, this kind of corruption affects the poor people the hardest. It hits them hardest. When we go to administration, this basically takes place in most cases in offices. Giving a job to your cousin in URA instead of a profession. Okay? So you are going to have accountability queries because the person who is there cannot even justify the entries and exits within the URA section, within the accounts. So we are in this kind of scenario. Okay? That is nepotism. In simple terms, we can call that nepotism. Okay? So you inflate even the cost of medicine so that you, when you are tendering, some boards are tendering boards, you try to inflate the costs so that whoever can meet that is the one who takes. Yet in actual sense, the cost of making these tenders is lower than what you have presented to the public. So we end up going into so many losses. Information is that Uganda loses shillings 614 billion a year just from rigged tenders. Rigged tenders. That you inflate a tender so that someone who can come to that tune is the one you give the tender to. So we get people who are fraudsters because they have the money but they don't have the knowledge. So grand corruption. Now, this takes us to senior officials who divert billions meant for the country. Now, things like PDM, which is a national program, roads, drugs, the opium scandal, where $12 million in donor money disappeared, just like that. So corruption is not just about actually money. It is about even on how we do our things. Embezzlement, nepotism, extortion, and abuse of office. So this alone takes us to the level that we need to break down something. My brother was talking about the 10 trillion, which is lost annually. And this 10 trillion can help maybe to facilitate parliament for 3 years. Okay? That is, to me, that does not touch the real issue. The real issue is that we are looking at 100 millions being given per parish. A parish which has over 300 homesteads, you are giving them 100 millions, which 100 million is not sufficient annually. But the 10 trillions, I want to tell you that annually you can give every parish 1 billion. Annually. If we were able to manage this corruption, the 1 billion would actually be distributed to so many households in one financial year. And in one financial year, if we can actually facilitate 1 billion per parish, then we should call the IGG to come and help us to make sure that Ugandans actualize this. But the unfortunate bit is that even the IGG, at one point, I think they are powerless. The biggest thing they can do is bring to us digits. You see,
she has already given you their mandate and how they are empowered, but their powers.
No. What we are talking, when we talk of powers.
Really, I missed that.
No.
Okay, for me, I'm not surprised.
I did not.
Someone says
I did not miss it. I did not miss. I am deliberate on making it that they don't have the powers. They don't have those.
What do you mean by that?
Let me actualize it. The IGG comes up with digits. And I can read for you the digits here. They came up with so many digits. And that's where the power issue comes in from. They tell you that bribes to judges, this is according to the IGG's report, July 2023-2024. Corruption in the office of the judges, judiciary, and they say Ugandans lost about 762.9 billion. So who?
Ugandans.
Where is that digit coming from? So who was given the bribe, and who gave the bribe? So this is where I think IGG should be really serious. That if this kind of corruption is taking place, and you can even be specific and you say judges, okay? It means you even know which person and which particular judge has taken this kind of bribe. So you need to come out and tell us what action did you take as IGG against such individuals. Then there is this health care.
But maybe perhaps you give me a chance to respond to that while it is still like a hot potato. I think it's important for us to stick to the provisions of the law. You realize that the discipline of judges is a responsibility of the Judicial Service Commission. So when I receive such cases, I refer to the Judicial Service Commission for action. So you should be asking me, did you follow up on what actions were taken by the Judicial Service Commission in respect to some of these cases? But statistics is very clear. We refer to the Judicial Service Commission, which is constitutionally mandated to deal with the issues to do with disciplinary in the judiciary.
All right.
You see, that is one just with the judiciary. I'm telling you, I read your reports because I pick interest in this. Because I've been arrested over corruption scandals. Because I've been fighting against corruption. So I take always keen interest in understanding the digits. It's not just about judges. So that goes to the Judicial Service Commission. But we have education sector corruption, which you people have listed as well. So what has happened? You say you've lost 278 billions. Healthcare, we have lost 191 billions. That is according to your report. Okay? So when we look at all this, environmental pollution degradation, meaning that people go and even bribe in order to use areas that are not supposed to be used by us. And we have lost about, there is corruption that has gone to a tune of 536 billions. So really, as IGG, beyond these digits, what exactly is that action that you take to help Ugandans recover these losses? You see, when we go into this economic and corruption crimes, gave us a report as well in 2025, and it says we lost to fraudsters, corrupt officials from police and con artists about 336 billions, which was in 2025. But that was up. You see, in 2024 we only lost about 1.8 trillion. So in 2025 it is now coming down. Actually, it is coming down. So I would think that we need to give clear statistics with what we are doing to make sure that we bring down this kind of situations.
Wajibile, before we take a break, do you view NRM's No Sleep, No Corruption slogan as for this term, the 7th term, as genuine reform or election method?
You see, it can't be genuine, because I have heard Mr. Museveni make statements about corruption. If at all I remember, in 2013, 2014, we had Zach Niringie and a team who started authoring documents of corruption that has taken place in this country. And that's when we had the Black Friday, Black Monday, if you recall. We had the Black Monday where Zach Niringie and team advised or called upon Ugandans that if you really feel bad about corruption, every Monday wear black, so that people look at it and understand that we really have pain. Because of eating these roads, we call it eating because actually when you take the money meant for a road, you have eaten it into your stomach. A full highway is taken into someone's stomach. And we shall get accidents, so it means we are going to be burying our sisters and brothers. The action taken against the team that came up with such an idea was thrown into the cells. Those people had to come out on bail through court, and they had to pay court fees in order to come out of prison. So such situations, this is where I think if we are genuinely fighting corruption, you invite such people and sit them down to seek for ideas. Actually, if we are shaming those who are stealing public funds, is it shaming enough, or there is something that we can do better beyond shaming the public thieves? Okay. So that alone did not stop there. We went ahead, if you remember, with the yellow piglets to Parliament, because Parliament had also become another scavenging area where they would only discuss and then take loans and take all this, then then we said we cannot continue with this. When people are talking about corruption and the Parliament cannot even bring this on its order paper, it means they are supporters of corruption. We were also jailed for a very long time and even tortured. So that did not stop there.
Ojabili, are you not in any way celebrating the current efforts that the government is taking, checking big institutions, big individuals in this country? The last time you said that some of the institutions of government that were entrusted with the mandate fighting corruption, they were given nets that only fish, small fish, but we have seen also the big fish being netted this time. Are you not celebrating that kind of effort?
No, I would still refer this very question you're giving me back to you. Which institution is taking on the big fish you are talking of? Because I would really want something to be structured. The IGG is here. They took to them a complaint. There is a team of Ugandans who wrote to the IGG and said, please investigate this lady, the Speaker of Parliament. Before she has come out with a report, a lot of things are happening. And who is operationalizing the incidences? The first son. What is the rank of the first son in investigating the Speaker? So really, you need to respect even authority. Even when I don't agree with Anita, whatever she has done, but we should also do it in a rightful manner. That tomorrow I am going to be the next victim. They will just come and camouflage around. Now, you man, this thing you got, it was not yours. And nobody is there to even say the rightful office is the IGG to give us a report. Because there is a complaint on the IGG's desk. Before they even furnish us with the report, where are these people getting all these powers? I've not even heard the president talk about it. I've not even heard, and maybe I would say that it is the executive, but a CDF commanding on Twitter to say, please, it is so and so, we should now be reprimanded. That is utterly wrong. I may not agree with Anita, but I also don't agree with the manner in which this whole process is being handled. It is wrong and ridiculous.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your observations, but also submissions, and the team here in our studios of UBC. I'm taking a very short break, and when I return, our dear listener from the other side, you can always participate and share your views and perspectives on this very forum. 0776 511 426 is our studio line. You can send messages or call. After the break, we shall give you some time to also participate, and we know what you think. And later on, we're going to get from Dr. Patricia how they are prepared in this term, the 7th term, and what assurances can you give that the office of IG will remain independent but also able to investigate the ruling party officials, those people called the big fish, the big figures. People have said that the individuals who are bigger than the institutions, and want to really learn from you. And when I also return, I will also inquire from the educator, the analyst and Pan-Africanist, Comrade Rugarama, on what he thinks about public perception on corruption that can play in that behavior, and how best can we manage it. People seem to some people say that they have lost trust in some organizations, institutions that are fighting corruption. Where does that take the fight against corruption? But also from your perspectives, what are some of the historical, I understand that you are a historical, and are there historical precedents, domestic or regional or international, where a ruling party can successfully reduce corruption after so many terms in power? We're going to get those lessons from you as we got from Ojabili. I'm taking a very short break, and when I return, I'll be starting from there. This is UBC Ground Zero.
Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back. It's hot.
We busted. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer senior system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda kito kugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is UBC Radio, the home of inspiration.
This is UBC Radio. Tune in for news.
At UBC Radio, we bring you Uganda's latest news and information.
Focus on Parliament.
What we need to do, the Prime Minister must give us the position before we finalize with the budgeting process.
Enjoy sports. The environment. Politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health. Entertainment. Updates in education. On the farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
Indeed, it is UBC Radio. We are here to inspire you, the people of Uganda. We are on 5 radio stations that cover this program. It is the right time that you call and participate in this very edition. Our topic is setting the pace, looking at the NRM theme, setting the pace. No sleep, no corruption. What do you think and what needs to be done to make sure that we bring this to life for the next 5 years, looking at the term which started just this year 2026 and ending 2031. 0776 511 426. And I'm glad that in the studios of UBC we have a team that will be addressing those concerns that you'll be raising. Dr. Patricia Achan Okiria, Deputy IGG, Ojabili Augustine, Secretary Electoral Commission from Forum for Democratic Change, and Comrade Rogalama Daniel, Dr. Chairman Pan-African Movement Uganda, and is the Global Geostrategic Consultant, is a lawyer and also educator. Ampaire Amon Buteega is my name. I have so many messages already coming in, but also you can call on 776 511 426 and tell us what you think about our topic. No sleep, no corruption. We're setting a pace. I am Jacob, listening in from Mtinda, I think you've put M, and you're saying I want evidence. Amon, slogans may not work. We have seen more slogans, Chisanja kuna mchezo, so many others of the past, but there were no results and no prosecutions. We need actions, not slogans. Amon, you like to see radios?
It's Ampaire Jacob Rubaga.
You're calling from where, Fande?
I'm calling from Rubaga here.
All right, sir.
I just want to seek something small.
Please.
Fighting corruption will not be easy because people who are supposed to fight for corruption, even themselves also they are corrupt. So how can you fight for corruption since you are also corrupt? So they first have to clean themselves before they have started their work. That is only what I can say. Have a good morning.
Thank you so very much, Fanda Jacob there, sharing his views on UBC Radio Ground Zero program. I am Simon. I'm listening in from Kumi. Which laws are in place that will make change? Show a timeline and measurable targets. That's when Ugandans will trust in your process. All right. You're live on UBC Radios.
Yes, good morning.
Very good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm just, yeah, I want to thank you for the program.
Thank you, sir.
And especially tackling the issue of corruption. I only have an issue with the way the government is handling this issue of corruption. Because since time immemorial, since NRM came to power, a lot of corruption cases have been seen taking place. There have been more glaring cases of corruption that have not been taken. Now the problem is that as if we see a situation whereby certain individuals, certain people are being sacrificed. And I believe some people are trying to say that why is it certain people who are being used to fight this corruption or to be the ones to face it for the rest. Because I remember one time Mukola went to jail for this. And in the same line now, from the same region, we are seeing Amon also facing it rough. But the question is, are these the only two individuals that we have ever seen? And is it only from the east that we see corruption glaring? Because we've seen situations whereby people have been seen to amass wealth from the west, from the west, but never at any one time have we seen people being caught up there. It seems that it is easier to pick on certain area, certain region.
Okay.
We won't find out why. Because the people in the West who have got mansions with the airfields on them, on what, we have people in the West who have got bonds of cars in their homes. So why is this happening? I think people are going to become a little bit jittery about it. The question is around that area. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. 0776511426 is the number you can call and share your views, and if there are concerns, I have a very big team here of experts that can address all the concerns, but I wish we take only some seconds in that we give chance for others to also share their views. You're live on UBC Radios.
Amon, good morning. Thank you very much. Juma is calling from Buteega.
Thank you, sir.
Amon, I'm the happiest Ugandan today after seeing action taken.
Thank you, sir. Which action do you mean in this case?
Yes. Fighting corruption, team no sleep, we are here. I've been crying from January up to December. Every year in, year out. I need one day. The president himself should stop informing where he's going to operate when there is a need. He has started with the parliament. The head of parliament is the speaker. That action alone has given me hope in President Museveni. In fact, I'm losing even language, which language I can speak better to appreciate Mr. Museveni. This is what we, the citizens, were waiting for. They have been catching the small fish, the silver fish, the mukene. Now, at least when you are seeing tilapia also being trapped, that gives us hope and joy. Embezzling of public funds, taxpayers' money. The consequences have to be in public like that. So, you see Karamoja Iron Sheet, were among the big head of institution of the government. And Nandutu was alone there in Luzira. I think by now Nandutu cannot even ask for bail because she used to ask for bail too much because she was alone. I think yet there were very many who were sharing the iron sheet. So I think this is just Tandikabuta and this say. They have just started. So in summary,
yes, sir.
IGG need to be supported. And the anti-corruption unit, the other one in the State House, I feel like that institution have to be scrapped away. They should combine that effort back to impact IGG, Inspector of General Government.
All right.
That one is going to work. Thank you very much.
I am Catherine. I am in a restaurant here enjoying my tea in didn't get this street very well, but is in Ginger, and I said is enjoying her breakfast. Thank you, Jabila, for speaking my mind. All right. Live on UBC radios.
Good morning, UBC.
Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Emma calling from Wanko here in Old Portbell Road.
All right, sir.
The truth to be told, whatever government is trying to do, I wish if it continues to do the same with whoever is trying to do this kind of vice and stealing money, corruption, what and so on. But me, what I don't want a situation whereby today we pick at the head of the speaker, and after picking the speaker, then we continue with the 5 years coming ahead, and we end up finding the same kind of thing happening, and no action is done, and yet we are promised that this is Kisanja, no slave. That thing disappoints and annoys us so much. It would have been better if they have started just like the very way they have started right now. It goes on promising like that. At least there was something that this country maybe somewhere somehow can change. But if we happen to pick one individual, after picking one individual, then we sleep and stop there, and corruption is still with us and it will not go away.
Thank you, sir. Same observations and submissions here from someone listening in from Chebando. Thank you, Amon, for the program, but there's more actions needed. I'm wondering why this time they're acting, but also this government needs to investigate most of the institutions and big figures in that we can get positive results. UBC radios.
Good morning, UBC radio. Hello?
You're live on UBC radios. Your name and who you can respond?
Yeah, speaking to Tabu Julius from Kisasi.
Okay.
Yes. On my side, I was suggesting if this IGG, they can give for them also a way to investigate those revenue people also. That is where the corruption started from. And those people from revenue authority, they are the one causing all, and even though they cash it, they are not among also. They should also investigate those people because that is where the corruption started from, and they are the one issuing everything coming in Uganda. And why is it for them they are not investigating them also? Those are the things which are making us, we citizens of Uganda, we are just there poor.
Thank you, sir. Oh, so many comments. I don't know whether we shall get time to go through most of them. I can just give the highlights. Someone is listening in from Bongi. He says, Amon, thank you for the program. I want to ask IGG what protections are there for whistleblowers? What protections for whistleblowers are guaranteed? We have some people who come and report, but before you know, they are also netted. Yeah, how I wish even those who report the whistleblowers go through the same. Okay, thank you, the people of Bongi district there. Thank you for the program. I want to inform Ojabile in your studios there that if he says the IGGs don't have the power and yet is complaining about the first time investigating, maybe he should be celebrating that those who have power are helping the power to fight the corruption. Our enemy is one, and regardless of who is fighting it, we should be celebrating. Thank you. when we talk about who enforces these commitments and how will the public track the progress is something that we need to look into. Okay, so many comments. Allow me, if time allows, we shall get back to these comments. And let me start with Dr. Patricia very briefly to address these concerns, because we still have a lot to do. And Taco and also Council Galama will come in, and Jobili will also come in to address some of these concerns in case you have. Dr. Patricia?
Thank you very much, Amon, and I would like to thank the listeners for the comments, the questions, the observations. One thing I would like to say is that corruption affects all citizens equally, whether you're in opposition or you are in NRM. Corruption is all corruption. And big or small corruption, it's all corruption. Just like sin, you cannot say there is big sin or small sin. I know there is excitement out there now, but many people have been asking about what it is we are doing. Ojobile talked about the statistics, and I just wanted to say that some of those studies are being done by ourselves, and we have come up with strategies on how to use those statistics to deliver output. For instance, we now have a way of dealing with syndicate corruption. We are using the digits we found with the Education Service Commission, Public Service Commission, the environmental issues, to do recoveries of the losses we are talking about. And right now, as I speak, we have over 20 billion recovered from this quarter in our asset recovery fund. So we are implementing a number of targeted investigations in order to reinforce the broad priority areas which we have talked about. And again, you talked about us and our power. The Inspectorate of Government remains the lead anti-corruption agency in the fight against corruption. Much as we have several other agencies, you have seen, even in the current investigations, you see CID here, you see State House Anti-Corruption Unit there, you see, we are also in the thing, and we are the lead anti-corruption agency. When it comes to prosecuting, we'll probably take lead in prosecution, or we'll do it hand in hand with DPP. So we have institutionalized in intelligence-led and prosecution-driven investigations, and we are also deploying the AI-powered leadership code verification systems, and we are also scaling up our asset tracing and recovery mechanism. We are using both the proactive and reactive strategies, because the intelligence approach basically allows more for proactive measures in identifying potential corruption activities even before they escalate, and shift the focus from the reactive to preventive approach. And then, like we talked about, the data collection and analytics, and we're also targeting high profile and high risk areas. And this basically would enhance efficiency in investigations and ensure that even the limited resources we have are used, especially when it is making the most impact. And then, like we said, the fight against corruption is not just for one institution. We are encouraging collaboration, partnership, and strategic alliances to improve effectiveness. That's why we say, where you have an allegation, something is happening here, please come out and report to us, and we shall take action. We are working also with the civil society, and we are trying to link intelligence to legal action, because like Ojobile has brought out issues of action. Many a times when people do reports and let the reports lie on the shelves, but we take up the recommendations, and we are now linking intelligence to legal action by ensuring that the intelligence findings are translated into legal strategies, which is quite crucial. And this includes preparing cases, robust cases for prosecution, and also securing asset freezes and forfeiture. The challenge we have, people come making noise, oh, that is our person, leave our person. Irrespective of the region you come from, whether Eastern, Northern, Central, Western, as long as you have committed a corruption-related crime, that is a crime. And this intelligence-led approach to asset recovery will necessitate even the high standards of accountability and transparency, basically to maintain the issues around public trust. Now, Jacob from Tinda talked about the action-oriented perspective. people supposed to fight corruption are corrupt, please report to us. When you say we need to clean ourselves before before starting our work, I agree with you 100%, because in every basket of apples you find a certain rotten ones. But if you name them to us, then we can take action and do our own house cleaning. Simon from Kumi is asking for which laws are in place, and we need timelines and target. I agree with you, Simon. We have laws, we have institutions, we have policies. Laws ranging from the Anti-Corruption Act, the Whistleblower Protection Act, the Leadership Code Act, and several others, including the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. But I agree with you when you talk about timelines. As the Inspectorate of Government, we now have to keep reporting on progress in the fight against corruption. Citizens need to know what it is we are doing and how we are doing it, and how they can get involved in fighting corruption. Just as he's saying, government is handling corruption, a lot of corruption cases with glaring evidence where we have not taken action. Certain individuals are sacrificed and used to fight corruption. Now, I would like us to make this categorically clear that we do not target certain individuals. We do not do selective prosecution here. Once a matter is reported to us, we handle it as it has come. Not only are we looking at these cases, but we are also encouraging people out there to bring evidence. It's not enough to name somebody, but bring evidence. Give us the leads and we take action. Juma from Buteega says he's very happy. This action has given him hope. Yes, thank you very much, Juma. Catherine in Ginger is thanking Mr. Ojobile for mentioning what she expected, and it has been mentioned. Emma from Portball said whatever is being done should be done. And this should continue. So I think what is being done and will continue we are going to continue doing the work, but we expect you to support the institutions to give us the information so that we can act on it. Somebody is saying more action is needed to investigate more big figures. I agree with you. People have been talking about big fish. But like I said, small or big, corruption is all corruption. It can start small and grows and becomes bigger. That's why we keep talking about the mindset change, how we need to inculcate values and principles in young people so that they grow up to make the responsible leaders. Tabu in Chisasi says we should also deal with the revenue authority, because they are the ones causing corruption in the country. Tabu, this has been well noted. And somebody from Obongi talks about the whistleblower. What protection do we have that is guaranteed for the whistleblowers? Yes, we have the Whistleblower Protection Act, which guarantees protection for the whistleblower. The spirit behind this law is to encourage people to come and report impropriety to the institutions, the respective institutions. And when you report, you are paid 5% of the proceeds when we recover the proceeds of corruption. But going forward, as the Inspectorate of Government, we are committed to this fight against corruption, and we call upon all Ugandans to join us in the fight against corruption by reporting all acts of wrongdoing encountered in government offices across the country, and by holding leaders and public officers accountable for their actions. So let us remain vigilant and also steadfast in upholding integrity and promoting these values. And we continue to urge you, the citizens and listeners out there, not only to offer bribes when it is solicited for and where it is possible, provide credible evidence against corrupt public officials so that appropriate legal action can be taken against them. Thank you very much.
Interesting. Comrade Galama?
Yeah, thank you once again. And really, I have this to say that if I may use the words of Professor Piero Lumumba, when he said that I engaged myself in politics and I went to a town hall, I delivered well over 302 very well researched presentations. I communicated to the audience, and I thought I had educated them enough But on the voting day, the day before the voting day, my opponent came with sacks of money, and he dished out the money, and I lost the
election.
The election. So
regardless of the effort.
So now you can see that at the end of the day, we are looking at the corruption, which is in different shapes and sizes. Corruption in the spheres of politics, in spheres of job placements, and I think Dr. Patricia talked about that. But what is of critical importance now is that look at it this way: the population, and this cuts across. The population in Uganda celebrates the corrupt. You see, it makes the work of fighting corruption extremely very hard, because the corrupt, after stealing from us, they amass, sometimes primitively, the wealth, and then they come and give us tokens, just small pieces here and there, and then we hold them up as these hard-working. They have money. We celebrate them in our villages, in our small towns, in the cities. And therefore, the corruption becomes desirable. It is no longer looked at as evil, and this goes to the core of societies. What is society's fabric? What is what do we look at as the bedrock to development? Can we have a society which we are going to say it is clean, free of corruption, and it will propel development? That's why people who are in government offices, what we have been discussing here, the absenteeism, the rate at which people want to work, but they don't want to deliver, but they want the payment. And they also find a reason to touch in different areas to see how they can allocate themselves the resources, not for purposes of promoting national development, but to enrich themselves. That's why we have corruption in the health sector. It does not, people don't get ashamed of importing drugs because they are going to be given cheaply or almost for free, which are left with 4 months to expire. And when they reach here, by the time they leave the medical stores to get to the health centers or the different destinations, then they are about to maybe just a matter of weeks to expire. And God forbid, we have got cases of increased cancer cases as a consequence of taking expired drugs. You saw what the IGG last time, I think there was on spot check with, was it Mr. Kamabari and what have you, when they were moving around to find out what was happening in different health centers. And there are computations, the figures that have been read to us in the health sector. So even when you go to education, you look at those figures as a consequence of absenteeism, people not being where they are supposed to be. What we lose, it is computed in money terms. But to me, there is much more, you see, away from money. What you have made there was a rating on one of the universities in South Africa that if you think education is expensive, then you try ignorance. So at the end of the day, when you look at the bigger picture, is that when you have got a population which is poorly educated, what are you going to get going forward? You are going to get delivery of not just poor services, but the entire program, the development program and the trajectory of a country is going to be in jeopardy. So for me, really, at the end of the day, somebody also raised an issue here. Maybe I should also talk about it. That we seem to be having selective prosecution. I really don't want to go. You see, where I come from, the Pan-African background, and having being the chairperson of the Pan-African movement here in the country, I find it extremely difficult to accept that this government, whose second tenet upon which it rotates is Pan-Africanism, can venture into selective prosecution to almost a point of persecution. I want to believe, and has been well elaborated here, that we have got prosecution that is across the board. It doesn't matter, because prosecution or the anti-corruption crusade does not have eyes that they will look at this one and then they refuse to look at the other one. Although, of course, in some cases, situations may present themselves which look like as if there is a selective prosecution. But going forward, since it is a known fact now that on the African continent there has been for a number of years loss of monies, because even failing to budget properly, failing to allocate monies where the monies are supposed to be, having officers who are not supposed to be doing certain things go to do those things. And I think one of the chorus mentioned that you have got officers whose mandate is not to go into this corruption crusade, but they seem to be projecting themselves as the heroes of crusade. Okay. And it becomes a little bit difficult. My core now is that let part of the cleanup is that the mandated offices should actually do the work of cleaning up. Although at the end of the day, it is a collective responsibility that all of us should watch out for what is good for this country.
Okay. Ojabele?
Yes, our listeners, I want to take this opportunity again to thank you for always being part of our program. I also want to thank the IGG for taking the responsibility to respond to majority of the callers' issues, even when she tackled some of my issues. You see, I want to begin with the issue of the Whistleblowers Protection Act. You see, a law that protects only the thief is not a law. We need to amend that law by yesterday. That law is vague. That law does not even you can't report anonymously. Okay, you can't report anonymously. You know, you need to allow whistleblowers to report anonymously through a secure, maybe digital portal, so that these people, you know, when you are a nurse and your boss is the one stealing government drugs, taking them to their hospitals or clinics, the moment you rise up and say, I'm going to report my boss, they want you to state, my name is Ojobile Augustine, I am a nurse, this unit, and all this. By the time you leave the office after reporting, your name is already your name is already mentioned somewhere. And your boss
spread more than the information.
The information is not even spreading, but your name has spread more than the issue that you have taken there. So anonymity of the person reporting needs really to be taken care of. Okay, so you can't report your boss in any way. Just like here, you have the director, the programs director. Maybe Amon is the problem. Okay?
God forbid.
No, I'm just giving an example. You see, we must do live things. That Amon is here, maybe his boss is the problem, but Amon wants to go to the IGG's office and report. Just imagine, Amon is going to say, my name is Amon, and my boss is ABCD. Now, what is that you do to protect Amon's job? Because Amon is now in a crisis. The moment he creates that situation, his job is under jeopardy. So it is hard for Amon to move out there and say, at UBC, my boss is ABCD. So it means that problem will continue. So Amon will die in silence, yet he is a sane individual. He's upright. He was brought up religiously. But now things are happening. He cannot go there because he needs his job. You see, this issue are just bringing, I don't know, maybe I've not read the act well. The 5% is one of the amendments that needs to come in. Maybe you're talking about it as you plan to bring it to Parliament. The 5% as an incentive.
Mr. Jobile, I participated in drafting that law myself. The 5% is an incentive on the proceeds recovered. But also you're talking about amendment. That law needs to be strengthened by the witness protection law, which is in the offing at the moment. The law as it is very good. Our neighbors have benchmarked. They have taken best practice from it. They're implementing. What we need to do is to resource the institutions to be able to provide the necessary protection required for the whistleblowers. But the law as it is very, very good. We need to continue encouraging people to report anomalies, but also they should not blow their cover, because you can't report to me and run to CID and run to 21 other places and you expect to be regarded as a whistleblower. You will have blown your cover, and we treat those cases as informers. Then you move off the whistleblower to be an informer as provided for still within the IG Act. But the protection, that 5%, is an incentive to encourage people to report these cases so that they're investigated. When the recovery is made, this person is entitled to this 5%. It may have gaps in enforcement, like you have said, but one of those gaps I see is basically resourcing the institutions to be able to provide the necessary protection. Thank you.
Unfortunately, you don't disagree with me that you don't ask for people's details. So what I am saying is that in the amendments, in the due amendments that you need to take to Parliament,
protection,
let people be protected. That I cannot come up. I am under Nathan Nandala Mafabi at FDC. He's the head of our secretariat. If he's doing something that is contrary to what I expect, I can't come up to report when you are going to ask, what is your name? Ojo Bela Agustin. You are what? I'm the Secretary Electoral Commission at FDC Secretariat. Now, what are the details? So and so is doing ABCD. And I'm reporting my boss. Then the next day I don't have a job. Will you give me a job? No. So we need here to protect our protection.
Are you saying that people should not give in their details? Because also I am also saying that from their end, they need to know what position is this information you're giving authentic.
We encourage anonymity in reporting so that you don't divulge your details and get that protection. Because if you're anonymous, then we handle it as anonymous and we'll say we received a complaint without necessarily mentioning who brought the complaint. And we've done that before.
So that being said, as I continue, the IGG talked of collaboration needed between, I think, their office and us, the citizens. That is clearly something which we must do. The police say yamba police kuyambe. But the problem I see always in this thing, I participated in writing a complaint in 2017 against some specific members of parliament. I brought almost a full pamphlet of details concerning theft and maybe property. Up to today, I've never been invited by IGG, either for follow-up or for any kind of additional information. So I don't know how I should collaborate with you. By that time, it was the Irene Mulyagonja Council, Lady Justice, who was the IGG, 2017. I have a full booklet there of complaints against individuals. And
now they have never called you
for anything, whether so how do I collaborate?
It's important to note that we are a new leadership in the inspectorate. But if you're still interested in that case, you can share the case reference number.
Some people died, so I
But cases don't rot,
but then,
9 years ago.
So, so for me, I find it ridiculous telling me that we need to collaborate. Yet I'm one of the people who collaborated in black and white writing. So looking at recoveries, I am appreciative that you people are recovering, but we are shamed by the level of recoveries. Out of 10 trillions, I think in your report, you said 20 billions, but according to the verbal report, but according to what you people wrote on paper, you recovered 7 billions. Really? Out of 10 trillions, if IGG is recovering 7 billions, 44% of the Ugandan budget is lost annually. And then we can only recover about 0 point something percent. That is very, very, very small. And I think as a country, we need to interest ourselves in finding better ways to see these recoveries. And one of them is what I have just highlighted, that where a whistleblower needs to be at least one enticed, but also as they report, they need not to be given that publicity that so and so brought this and that. You will find out that more recoveries will be made. We have, you see, America uses this anonymity kind of way to entice their people from to report, and they are always recovering annually. Whatever they recover is always multiplying. You can do a case study on United States, how it is doing its recoveries on errant individuals. Then selective prosecution. I want to actually associate with this person. I remember the time we had this problem where we had Mike Mukula, we had Jim Uhwezi. I think that was a corruption scandal. It was about this HIV and something.
Gavi funds.
Yes, Gavi funds. Now, how that matter ended, it was the president who said forgive them. Yes, the president himself made a statement of asking forgiveness to these people who had stolen this money. That was far back in 2010, if I recall the year very well. The president requested for these people to be forgiven. And then of recent, I think 2022 or 2023, we had IGG Betty Oliver Namisango Kamia, who came up with very big statements about against on how money had been lost in this country. The president himself rose up and said, no, you see, I want you to stop this issue of visit lifestyle audit against our leaders. If
that was the time when they were launching it, actually.
If they are stealing this money and maintaining it within the country, what's wrong with that? That was the president himself. Now, those were statements. Let's come to the actions themselves. In 2005 actually, at a time when there was a constitutional amendment to remove term limits, it is on record members of parliament were bribed 5 million by the executive head to make sure they go to parliament and amend the constitution to allow them continue. So who talks about that? If you, the head, you are support of corruption, you entice someone in order to go and do his work, because a member of parliament is paid to go and debate and discuss on behalf of the citizens there in the village. So why should you give again some kitu kidogo to say now, instead of voting A, you vote B? So this money is to make sure you vote B.
All right. As you conclude on that, I also
2017, during the age the Article 103B amendment, you saw how things happened. About 100 millions exchanged hands. Actually, brought to your to IGG's desk were about that money. And I was specific about certain individuals because I had got information. So I brought it to your desk, and one of them is the 100 millions that exchanged hands.
In 2017?
Yes. 2017. So these things, when you see us talking about them, it is not that we really just enjoy talking, but we are having the pain, we are having the real pain that we can't go to the hospital and find drugs. We can't find a good road. These days the roads made, you just paint them with a dark color. After 5 months, 6 months, the road is gone. Where is it going? Someone took the money to their stomachs.
Thank you, Jabil. I will add you some time later on. I need to bring in Madam IGG, Dr. Patricia, especially the public very concerned about the ongoing case of Honorable former Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Annette Amon, and they seem to be shifting it to some other institutions. Yet when we talk about fighting corruptions, we always look at IG and also Auditor General. Let's get a comment from you, at least on this very case.
Thank you very much, Amon. But before I make a comment, I think it's prudent that I respond to some of what Jobile Augustine has raised here on the lifestyle audit and the comments by His Excellency the President. Well, the lifestyle audit was launched by His Excellency the President in 2021, and he said a comment which I think has been misconstrued by many. He said we needed to go slow so that people don't take the money and invest it outside. But as the IG, we have got strategies of dealing with that. We have got regional networks. We have been president for IACA, East African Anti-Corruption Authorities. We do mutual legal assistance, and we are able to follow and trace whatever it is has been taken away because of the networks we have with those other anti-corruption agencies in the region. So that comment, I don't think was taken in good faith. I know people misconstrued it, but we have also explained to him how we are doing it, and no wonder he's the one who launched the lifestyle audit. And about the recoveries, you said it is too low. To some extent, because the report you're quoting is an old report, but if I can say now in this quarter we have 20 billion, going forward you realize that it has improved progressively as we do our work. We have instituted recoveries, like I said, the strategies we have brought up from the cities, municipalities and districts. We have ordered officers, public officials who have misused money, who has caused losses, to pay back, and that has enhanced that amount. Now on the current investigations, it is true the Inspectorate of Government is conducting investigations as part of the independent government investigation authorities. We are conducting inquiries into the former speaker, and this is again a reminder to leaders out there, a reminder that accountability mechanisms must work transparently and fairly, regardless of who is involved. It is important that we let the investigative process run its course without prejudice. And remember, when you're taking lead in such an investigation, you don't discuss the nitty-gritties of your findings before you have gotten to a level of having it prosecuted. So the IGG should be allowed to gather evidence thoroughly, and the public deserves clear, timely updates about the findings and the next steps, which we will be doing. At the same time, we must protect the rights of the individuals under investigations, because allegations are allegations and not convictions. The media, the politicians and citizens should avoid inflammatory accusations until facts are established, because in law, he who alleges must also prove. Ultimately, if wrongdoing is proven, those responsible must be held accountable, and if not, reputations should be restored. If they are not accountable, if they have not been found guilty, then reputations must be restored. So that is what I can comment about the investigations going on. And to our leaders at all levels, I urge you to lead with integrity, especially the new leaders, actually, the new members of parliament. You need to lead with integrity, transparency, and accountability, because leadership should never be viewed as a privilege for personal gain, but rather as a noble responsibility entrusted to serve the people with honesty and also with dedication. We need to be intentional and purposeful in what we are doing. We need to own up the decisions we take. We need to take responsibility for any action, because it is only through collective action that ethical leadership and unwavering commitment to justice that we will actually be able to achieve even the socio-economic transformation we have been talking about. And therefore, it's important for us to take that qualitative step or leap into that high middle income status as a country, and we shall eventually realize even the meaningful and lasting change in our country. So I urge you to go out of these lamentations and take action. Let's be action-oriented. If we are to make a change, we should be able and willing to dare where others do not dare, by taking the bold step to fight corruption and taking decisive action. Thank you very much.
All right, time seems not to be on my side. Ojabili, Comrade Garama, and also Dr. Patricia, I will request to have your parting shots or way forward and parting shots. Ojabili, in that order.
You see, I want to sympathize with the Dr. Rugarama. Is it? Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
He talked of something very important that I had prepared to comment about. Unfortunately, I did not. Him running in an election around last year, and his opponent had sacks and sacks of money. You see?
That was
You see, around last year, during SEC elections, I saw tweets from different leaders of NRM and participants, leaders and participants. And I remember majority of the tweets were saying, I used about 700 millions a night preceding to elections. And another one would tell you I used 900 millions. So where are those people getting that money? That you can use 900 millions in one night just to buy. So what have you been using? How much money have you been using for the rest of about 2 months or 3 months where they have been campaigning? If the last night you are spending 900 millions, so where is that money coming from? So I think even sometimes, even without someone complaining that maybe this person has stolen money from here, we need to begin having investigations done by these corruption bodies in secrecy. That we need to do it, and people just come out to find out that something has already been done. So that it takes me to the Anita factor. Someone said that it's okay. IGG now you said has no power. Those who have power should do it. That is sarcastic kind of comment. We are talking about serious issues. These are national issues that we don't need to play with an institution. How we manage an institution will give us the direction for tomorrow. That if the IGG does not have power, I think we only need to empower them. Not to bring in Ojobile, who has no authority, to come and begin implementing what the IGG should have actually done. They have power on paper, but in reality, they are not supported to implement those powers. Because out of over 2,000 cases, if they have only managed to hear about 1,000, actually 1,000 something, about 30% of the matters that they have that have reached their desk. So how do we deal with this kind of case backlog? It is too high. And yet these are issues touching the human flesh. Corruption touches us directly. There's no way you can talk of corruption and you think it is something that can wait. Corruption doesn't wait. Because the moment a doctor is used to receiving money before doing his work, whoever does not have money is going to die. Whenever an engineer is supposed to receive some payment before he goes and makes a good road, then it means we are going to have a bad road and we shall have accidents. Then you begin bringing issues. Is it Operation Fika Salama? To do what? Operation Fika Salama because you are now going to stop people every corner so that they don't actually drive to about 80 speed of 80. Why? A vehicle which has 180, you can't even drive at 80 just because someone ate the money meant for a good road. It does not have the grips to handle the tires that are overspeeding. No, there is no way. So basically, I think we need to empower the IGG's office. This is it, the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. What is its work? What is it meant to do? Because if you looked at the roles and responsibilities they are doing, it's exactly what the IGG should be doing. Then if that person is a specialist, why don't you bring that person to come and help the IGG either as the IGG or as part of the IGG staff? If this person is an expert, other than creating another unit and another one, then you will hear a natural group on the other side, then you will hear another unit somewhere. So these are so many mushroomed units just to help.
Actually, previously someone had commented that they during the merger, they expected all these institutions to come under IGG, but that was not the case. But if you can conclude on that, time is first spent on Jabir.
But all these creations are also corruption in themselves, because maybe the IGG's office couldn't facilitate some kind of some level of corruption that they wanted to participate in. Now they have to create other units and say, now this will not be handled by the IGG's office, it will be handled by the State House. And then the State House is directly under the president. Directly. Though the IGG is also appointed by the president, but it is not directly under the president. So this is, in one way or the other, another corruption scandal which we must also investigate as Ugandans.
Last comment, sir.
Ojobila Augustine is my name.
Comrade Ugarama.
Yes. As a way forward, I'm looking. I visited Cuba in my Pan-African work, and I realized that they believe in what we call preventive medicine rather than curative. And I think we can employ this one here in order to lessen the work of you can never really rub it away completely, because as society advances, there will always be all manner and tendencies of corruption, because corruption is not just about money. It is, like I said earlier on, in different sizes and forms. So in that respect, I want to encourage that we do a lot of patriotism, a lot of Pan-Africanism, a lot of civic empowerment, such that I want to believe that in my sister Patricia's work, there is the component of civic empowerment, so that people get to know that corruption is extremely undesirable. When a society is civically empowered, then you will not have to be proud that you are registering so many cases of corruption. Instead, you should be proud that they are declining, because the people now know that it is not rosy for you to participate in corruption like it should be in police and other areas. So at the end of the day, really, I'm looking at this Chisanja, no sleep, no corruption, where we have commenced with what we are all seeing now before us as a step in the right direction. It doesn't matter that somebody has woken up a bit late. But has he woken up at all? Thank you.
You're also welcome, Dr. Patricia, if you can sum it all.
Very much. I know you gave Jobile most of the time, but nevertheless, in 1 minute, in 1 minute, I would say that for us as the Inspectorate of Government, we are the lead anti-corruption agency, and the law gives us powers, and I talked about our powers already earlier. We are now doing both the proactive against the reactive strategies, where we are looking at the intelligence approach, which allows more for proactive measures in identifying potential corruption activities before they escalate and shift the focus from reactive to preventive approach. I talked about our strategies already, but nevertheless, I call upon Ugandans to join us in the fight against corruption. Join us in the fight against corruption. Do not come with lamentation, come with action, come with solutions, come with strategies which will inform our work. Because by reporting all acts of wrongdoing we encountered in government offices across the country, and by holding leaders and public officers accountable for their actions, we need to remain vigilant and steadfast in upholding integrity. So for me, as I conclude, I would urge all listeners out there, all citizens, not to offer bribes when solicited. Do not. And where possible, provide us with credible evidence. Like I said earlier on, we are targeting high-risk areas now and sectors which basically would enhance efficiency in investigations and ensuring that limited resources are used and they're used very well to have much more impact. And then, like I said, we are also going to focus on data collection and analysis, where we're utilizing the sophisticated methods for collecting and analyzing data. We're looking at financial transactions, social networks, public records, which basically help us to uncover some of the hidden monies and illicit financial flows, and ensuring a robust basis for asset recovery efforts in the country. So let us not wear, let us not tear, let us have hope, because when we live in hope, then we are able to achieve what it is we have set forward to achieving. And then we need to build strong networks and alliances, strategic alliances, because it's only through collective action and ethical leadership and even the unwavering commitment to justice that we shall be able to take our country to another level. So thank you very much for listening, and may God bless you. I say this for God and my country. Have a blessed day ahead.
Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for making time to come through and educate the people of Uganda on this very forum, UBC Ground Zero. We're always live on 5 radio stations that cover this program: UBC Radio, UBC Butebo, UBC Magic, UBC Western Nile, and the Voice of Butebo. And also we stream live on YouTube. Just put UBC Ground Zero and you always be part of the conversation. It was a privilege having you, Madam Dr. Patricia Kilia-Chan, Deputy IGG, and also we had the privilege of having Comrade Garama Daniel, Doctor, Chairman Pan-African Movement Uganda and Global Geostrategic Consultant, lawyer and educator, and also on Ojabili Augustine, coming from Forum for Democratic Change as the Secretary of Electoral Commission. Until next time, same station, same program, Ampaire Amon Buteega, allow me to sign out. Shalom.
Welcome to Ground Zero, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero. That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody showed. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer senior system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
So if you don't